Turn our attention now to Utah because there's a bizarre story making headlines. A mom who wrote a children's book on grief after her husband's death. That's all good. However, she's now being charged with his murder. Investigators say that Kouri Richins killed her husband Eric with a lethal dose of fentanyl in March of last year.
Court documents reveal that text messages between Kouri and an acquaintance show she allegedly got prescription pain pills just days before the murder. About a year after Eric's death, Richins published a children's book about dealing with the loss of a loved one.
It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And, you know, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year.
And Richins is set to appear in court for a detention hearing next week. Affiliate KTSU takes a look back at the case and breaks down a timeline of key events.
I want to take you back to 2 months before the alleged murder. According to the search warrant, back in January, Kouri Richins logged into Eric's life insurance policy with his business partner and changed it so that she was the only beneficiary. Eric was notified by the insurance company, and he changed his will and life insurance over to his sister. According to the family, he never told Richins that he cut her out of the will. Then on Valentine's Day 2022, Eric told his family Richins brought him a sandwich, and after 1 bite, he broke into hives and couldn't breathe. The affidavit says that Eric told his family that if anything happened, she was to blame. Then on March 4th, Eric died from an overdose of fentanyl. The medical examiner said the level in his system was approximately 5 times the lethal dosage. A year goes by, and Richins publishes Are You With Me?, a children's book about a child grieving the loss of their father. Meanwhile, there's an ongoing estate battle over approximately $3,600,000 between her and Eric's sister. During the investigation, detectives discovered that Richins asked around for fentanyl, specifically, quote, some of the Michael Jackson stuff. She was arrested May 8th and charged with aggravated murder. Richins' next court appearance is scheduled for next Friday, May 19th. Reporting in the studio, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
You know, this one.
This one,
I gotta say that the facts, she handles a lot of the facts, but there's a whole lot more.
Yes.
There was a lot going on in their relationship, and apparently he was thinking about divorcing her, and she had tried to kill him, at least in his estimation, and those around them, family members, etc., think that she tried to kill him a couple of times.
And he even told family members, if something happens to me, because he would have immediate symptoms after eating something, it's her that did it.
No doubt. Let's bring in our guest, criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully. And Joseph, I'll start right there. We've seen in other cases, the Jensen case in particular, where the words of a victim, sometimes they can have trouble getting into a trial. You see any problem in this case with those words to his family members that if anything happens to me, it's her, pointing the finger at his wife? Will that be allowed in this trial?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it definitely goes to motive. So the prosecution will be trying to get it in. Will it get in? You put me on the spot here, but I appreciate it. I say yes. I say yes, it will come in. It will come in because it goes to his state of mind. It's possibly an excited utterance. It goes to an explanation as to why he changed the will. So it may not come in directly toward the murder, but it'll come in for some other reason, why he changed the will, why he was feeling unsure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there are a number of ways to get it in under this instance. Of course, the bar to it, Judge, of course, would be the Sixth Amendment, the confrontation.
Yes.
Right? And it would be hearsay. He told someone else that.
Right.
But I think there are a number of exceptions, some of them outlined there by Joseph, that will allow this in. And this type of evidence we've seen in other cases is pretty damning.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think it's all about, we know it is hearsay. Does it fall within one of those exceptions or not? But here's the thing, too, I think about this particular case. I think that in ones we've covered and heard about in Jensen, they don't do things after that are a little unbelievable. The fact that she wrote a children's book about how to deal with the grief of losing your father after she allegedly is the one that murdered the father. How does that come in, or does it? I don't know that it does, Joseph, but what are your thoughts?
That's a that's definitely a curveball. I mean, in terms of the trial, I think that the prosecution would want to keep that out and the defense would want to bring it in. However, if it does come in, I actually think that it could help the prosecution more than it would hurt them. Everybody's heard the term self-serving. The prosecution can easily pinpoint that in light of all the other circumstantial evidence putting her as the killer here, in terms of making a self-serving document to try to throw the police off, to try to put herself in the clear.
You know, it's crazy looking at these pictures, and there are a number of them where they look seemingly happy. They're at events, they're out in public, they're smiling, touching, arms around each other. And then you hear the allegations against her. And what I never understand, and unfortunately in our society, and it's not right, which is why I'm pointing it out, people look at people and say, oh, they did it. Look at how they look. Or, oh, she never could have done that. She is beautiful. Well, let's just put all that aside and say it doesn't have anything to do with how a person looks. Crazy like a fox. But to hear yet another case like this, Michael, where she's accused with this murder of her husband with young children, it just doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but I'll tell you what, Joseph, if you want to get accused of a crime of murdering someone that you love, all you have to do is mess with the life insurance.
Yeah.
And they are going to come after you right away. She had the gall to go in and with a business partner change the beneficiary on the insurance policy. But here's the kicker, and she didn't know this apparently. He finds out and goes back and changes it to the sister. She's currently in all kinds of legal issues trying to get that money that the sister now says belongs to their family and not her. But just going back to my point, when you have a situation where someone messes with the insurance, I mean, you are going to get the eye of the law on you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it leads straight to the prosecution's statement and closing argument. Did she have a motive, ladies and gentlemen? Sure. She had over 3 million reasons to do this. I mean, the huge monetary amounts that we're talking about here is definitely a huge motive that the government can use in proving its case or attempting to prove its case against the accused here.
But I would also suggest, and I'm glad you said the amount, $3 million, because it's not a little small sum of money that they're fighting over. It's more than $3 million. But also the way he died, the fentanyl. I mean, to me, that's the other thing. When she picked a way that an autopsy showed that, and that is something that clearly somebody killed him. I mean, you're not going to think that somebody's going to take 5 times the dose of fentanyl and die as a result of that overdose. It just doesn't feel right. So I think, too, that the method, the way that he died is a strong hand for the prosecution to play.
Well, okay, so I do have I know how the defense would react to that. The defense would say that, or a smart defense to that would be that, look, fentanyl is an illegal drug or can be an illegal drug. And when you get drugs that are, manufactured illegally, they don't necessarily make sure that all the ingredients are stirred up. So they might make a whole pot of illegal pills. And if you don't stir it up enough, you'll get more dosage in a pill than is intended. So if you're taking an illegal pill from one batch, one might be totally fine and you would live and survive and, do your illegal drug and get high. And another pill from that same batch might kill you. So that will be the defense to that.
And I love that you pushed back and gave me the defense attorney position, knowing what you know about narcotics, about drugs. And really the reality is it could be a whole different case if she had said, oh my gosh, he was using drugs and I hope that didn't kill him, and then had that as a that's what killed him, not me. But she didn't do that.
Yeah, that would be the other part of that equation that Joseph is speaking of. We have to know a little bit of history of this guy. You can't just come out of the blue and argue that he overdosed on fentanyl because he was buying illegal drugs off the street. There'd have to be some sense that they maybe used recreational drugs together, that they had gone out and bought drugs together. Because the other problem they have here, Joseph, is that the guy who allegedly sold her the drugs, apparently she's out on the street looking for fentanyl. A guy ends up selling it to her. Well, the cops got him too, and they have him on record as saying, yep, I sold her fentanyl.
Sure. No, that's good. again, the counter would be from a defense perspective is that, maybe he had a bad back and that he asked her to get some pills. She gave him one pill and it just so happened to be a bad pill from a batch, and it ended up killing. But she never would have thought that that one pill would have done that. Again, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's a logical comeback within these circumstances.
Yeah, fair enough. And we'll certainly be looking for that in that trial. And just going back quickly, Judge, to the book, I think you can get that in as part of a common plan or scheme. This idea that she really wanted to profit off of the death of her husband, not only by the life insurance, but by writing this book as well, improve her profile, and in fact, get money from that. So I think it comes in.
And I would also say, listen, she was desperate. She wrote this book because she killed him to get the life insurance money. She didn't know he changed it. That got tied up. She needs money. Oh, I'll write this book.
Fair enough.